be discussing the story of Junko Furuta. Born in Misato, Saitama, Japan, January 18, 1971, Furuta was a 17-year-old Japanese high school student who was abducted, sexually assaulted, tortured, and murdered. Her abuse was mainly perpetrated by 4 male teenagers: Hiroshi Miyano, age 18, Joe Agura, age 17, and Shinji Minato, 16, and Yasushi Watanabe, age 17, and took place over a 40-day period, starting on the 25th of November 1988. In Japan, the case is known as the Concrete Encased High School Girl Murder Case, as her body was discovered inside of a concrete-filled drum. Prison sentences served by the perpetrators ranged from 7 to 20 years. The brutality of the case shocked Japan, and is said to be the worst case of juvenile crime in the country's post-war history. Furuta grew up in Masato, Saitama Prefecture. She lived with her parents, older brother, and younger brother. At the time of her murder, she was a 17-year-old senior at Yashio Minami High School, and she worked a part-time job at a plastic molding factory from October 1988 to save up money for a planned graduation trip. Furuta also accepted a job as an electronics retailer, where she planned on working after graduation. Furuta was well-liked by her classmates and teachers, having high grades and infrequent absences. According to her friends, she dreamed of becoming an idol singer. On the evening of November 25th, 1988, Miyano and Minato rode around Masato on their motorcycles with the intention of robbing and sexually assaulting local women, and spotted Furuta, who was on her way home from a part-time job. Acting on Miyano's orders, Minato kicked Furuta off her bicycle and fled the scene. Miyano, under the pretense of witnessing the attack by coincidence, approached Furuta and offered to walk her home. After further gaining her trust, Miyano walked Furuta to a nearby warehouse and threatened her, telling her that he was a Yakuza member and that he would spare her only if she followed his orders. That night, Miyano took Furuta by taxi to a hotel in Adachi, where he sexually assaulted her. He later called Minato's house and bragged to Agura about the assault, after which Agura told him not to let Furuta leave. In the early morning hours of the next day, Miyano took Furuta to a park near the hotel, where Agura, Minato, and Watanabe were waiting. They told her they knew where she lived, and that the Yakuza would kill her family if she attempted to escape. Minato agreed to follow Furuta to be confined in a room on the second floor of his house in Adachi, for the purpose of gang assaulting her. The next day, on November 27th, Furuta's parents contacted the police about her disappearance. To discourage further investigation, the kidnappers forced Furuta to call her mother 3 times to convince her that she had run away, but was safe staying with friends. When Minato's parents were present at the house where she was being confined, Furuta was forced to act as his girlfriend. The group dropped this pretense when it became clear that Minato's parents would not report them to the police. The parents later claimed that they did not intervene because they were afraid of their son, who had been increasingly violent towards them. The night of November 28th, Miyano and the others, along with Nakamura and Ihara, gang assaulted Furuta, after which Miyano shaved her pubic hair with a razor and used a match to burn her lower region. In early December, as a punishment for an escape attempt, the group repeatedly punched Furuta in the face, and Miyano burned her ankles with a lighter. They forced Furuta to dance to music while naked, masturbate in front of them, and stand on the balcony in the middle of the night with little clothing, and inserted objects into her lower region and her back region, including a metal rod and a bottle. They also forced her to drink large amounts of alcohol, milk, and water, smoke 2 cigarettes at the same time, and inhale paint thinner fumes. In one attack, in the middle of the month, Furuta was beaten by the group on the pretext that Miyano had stepped on the puddle of her urine, after which he burned her thighs and hands several times with lighter fluid. From around this time, Furuta, unable to bear the repeated assaults, sometimes plead to be killed by her captors. Throughout the rest of December, the severity of Furuta's abuse continued to escalate, and by the end of the month she was severely malnourished after being fed only small amounts of food and eventually only milk. Due to her injury, she had become unable to walk to the downstairs toilet and was confined to the room's floor in a state of extreme weakness. Her appearance had been disfigured by the beatings, with her face becoming swollen to the point of being unrecognizable. Her wounds had started to emit a foul odor. On January 4th, 1989, after losing money in a game of mahjong the night before, Miyano decided to take his anger out on Furuta. He ignited a candle and dripped hot wax on her face, placed 2 shortened candles on her eyelids, and forced her to drink her own urine. Furuta was lifted and kicked, fell onto a stereo unit, and began a fit of convulsions. To prevent them from being stained with blood, the group covered their hands in plastic bags before beating her with her fist and an iron exercise ball. They dropped the ball on her abdomen several times. Miyano poured lighter fluid on Furuta and set her on fire. She made weak attempts to put herself out, but soon stopped moving. The assault lasted for about 2 hours, after which Furuta died at 10 a.m. Less than 24 hours after her death, Minato's brother called to tell him that Furuta appeared to be dead. Afraid that their crime would be discovered, the group wrapped Furuta's body in a blanket and placed it in a large travel bag, then put the bag in a metal drum and filled it with wet concrete. At around 8 p.m. on the 5th of January, the group drove to a vacant lot near a construction site on the island of Wakazu in Kudo, Tokyo, and dumped the drum there. In early 1989, Miyano and Agora were arrested for kidnapping and gang assaulting the 19-year-old woman. In December 1988, when police interrogated Miyano, he wrongly believed that Agora had already confessed to Furuta's murder and that the police were aware of this, so he told them where to find her body. The police were initially puzzled by his confession, as they were questioning him about a different gang assault. The drum containing Furuta's body was discovered on March 29th. She was identified via her fingerprints. Minato, Watanabe, Minato's brother, Nakamura, and Ihara were also arrested. In July 1990, all were found guilty and sentenced by the Tokyo District Court for abduction for the purpose of sexual assault, confinement, murder, and abandonment of a corpse. All 4 appealed. In July 1991, 3 were resentenced to longer terms by the Tokyo High Court. Hiroshi Miyano was originally sentenced to 17 years in prison and resentenced to 20 years, the longest sentence typically given in Japan, short of life imprisonment, which had been sought by the prosecution. Miyano's parents sold their family home and paid Furuta's parents in compensation. Joe Ogura was sentenced to 5 to 10 years in prison. Shinji Minato was originally sentenced to 5 to 6 years in prison and resentenced to 5 to 9 years. His parents and brother were not charged. After his release in 1988, Minato moved in with his mother. Yasushi Watanabe was originally sentenced to 3 to 4 years in prison, resentenced to 5 to 7 years. He appealed the verdict to the Supreme Court of Japan, but his appeal was denied in July of 1992. He was released in 1996, after which he lived in an apartment with his mother in Tokyo. By 2005, Watanabe had developed a neurodegenerative disease, but did not have enough money to treat it. He died in May 2021 at age 49. Tetsuo Nakamura and Koichi Ihara, who had also assaulted Furuta, but did not participate in her murder, were released from juvenile detention by 2000. Furuta's funeral was held on April 2nd, 1989. During the ceremony, one of her friends delivered a eulogy written by her classmates, which stated, "Junko, welcome back. I never dreamed we would meet again like this. You were subjected to such cruelty, weren't you? You went through so much, didn't you? I'm upset with myself that I went on living, unaware of what was happening. You were always so gentle and cheerful, Junko. The happy we made for the cultural festival looked wonderful on you. Never forget that. We will absolutely not let Junko's death be in vain. As we step into adulthood, we'll strive for a world where such heinous crimes no longer exist. We do our best, keeping Junko in our hearts and pushing forward. The principal even brought your diploma. Thanks to this, all 47 of us in Class 3A were able to graduate. Junko, there's no more pain or suffering now. Rest peacefully. Farewell, Junko. Furuta's intended future employer presented her parents with the uniform she would have worn in her position, and it was placed in her casket. At her graduation, the principal presented her parents with her diploma. The location in Oahu, where her body was discovered, is now an industrial zone.